Within my garden rides a bird upon a single wheel, whose spokes a dizzy music make as twere a travelling mill. He never stops, but slackens above the ripest rose, partakes without alighting, and praises as he goes, till every spice is tasted, and then his fairy gig reels in remoter atmospheres, and I rejoin my dog, and he and I perplex us if positive 'twere we, or the garden in the brain, this curiosity. But he, the best logician, refers my clumsy eye to just vibrating blossoms, an exquisite reply. This world is not a conclusion. A species stands beyond, invisible as music, but positive as sound. It beckons and it baffles. Philosophy don't know, and through a riddle at the last, sagacity must go. To guess it puzzles scholars. To gain it, men have borne contempt of generations and crucifixion shown. Faith slips and laughs and rallies, blushes if any see, plucks at a twig of evidence, and asks vain the way. Much gesture from the pulpit, strong hallelujahs roll. Narcotics cannot still the tooth that nibbles at the soul. At least to pray is left. O Jesus, in the air, I know not which thy chamber is. I'm knocking everywhere. Thou settest earthquake in the south, and maelstrom in the sea. Say, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, hast thou no arm for me? Better than music, for I, who heard it, I was used to the birds before. This was different. 'Twas translation of all tunes I knew and more. 'Twasn't contained like other stanza. No one could play it the second time, but the composer, perfect Mozart, perished with him that keyless rhyme. So children told how brooks in Eden bubbled a better melody, quaintly infer Eve's great surrender, urging the feet that would not fly. Children matured are wiser, mostly. Eden, a legend, dimly told. Eve and the anguish, grandma's story. But I was telling a tune I heard, not such a strain the church baptizes when the last saint goes up to the aisles. Not such a stanza splits the silence when the redemption strikes her bells. Let me not spill its smallest cadence, humming for promise when alone, humming until my faint rehearsal drop into tune around the throne. You know that portrait in the moon, so tell me who 'tis like, the very brow, the stooping eyes, a fog for, say, whose sake, the very pattern of the cheek, it varies in the chin. But Ishmael, since we met, 'tis long, and fashions intervene. When moon's at full, 'tis thou, I say. My lips just hold the name. When crescent, thou art worn, I note, but there, the golden same. And when Some night, bold, slashing clouds cut thee away from me. That's easier than the other film that glazes holiday. I would not paint a picture. I'd rather be the one, its bright impossibility to dwell delicious on, and wonder how the fingers feel whose rare celestial stir evokes so sweet a torment, such sumptuous despair. I would rather not talk like cornets. I'd rather be the one raised softly to the ceilings and out and easy on through villages of ether, myself in dew balloon by but a lip of metal, the pier to my pontoon. Nor would I be a poet, it's finer, own the ear, enamored, impotent, content, the license to revere, a privilege so awful. What would the dower be, had I the art to stun myself with bolts of melody? He touched me, so I lived to know that such a day permitted, so I groped upon his breast. It was a boundless place to me, and silence as awful as the awful sea, which minor streams to rest. And now I'm different from before, as if I breathed superior air, or brushed a royal gown. My feet, too, that have wandered so, my gypsy face, transfigured now to tenderer renown. Into this port, if I might come, Rebecca, to Jerusalem, would not so ravished turn, nor Persian, baffled at her shrine, with such a crucifixal sign to her imperial son. She sights a bird, she chuckles, she flattens, then she crawls, she runs without the look of feet, her eyes increase to balls, her jaws stir, twitching, hungry, her teeth can hardly stand. She leaps, but Robin leaped the first. Ah, pussy of the sand. The hopes, so juicy ripening, you almost bathed your tongue, when bliss disclosed 100 toes, and fled with every one. I'm seated. I've stopped being theirs. The name they dropped upon my face with water in the country church is finished using now, and they can put it with my dolls, my childhood, and the string of spools I finished threading too. Baptized before without the choice, but this time consciously of grace unto supremest name, called to my full, the crescent drop, existence's whole arc, filled up with one small diadem. My second rank, too small, the first, crowned, crowing, on my father's breast, a half unconscious queen, but this time adequate, erect, with will to choose or to reject, and I choose just a crown. If anybody's friend be dead, its sharpest of theme, the thinking how they walked alive at such and such a time, their costume of a Sunday, some manner of the hair, a prank nobody knew but them, lost in the sepulchre. How warm they were on such a day, you almost feel the date, so short way off it seems, and now they're centuries from that. How pleased they were at what you said. You try to touch the smile and dip your fingers in the frost. When was it? Can you tell? You asked the company to tea, acquaintance, just a few, and chatted close with this grand thing that don't remember you. Past bows and invitations, past interview and vow, past what ourselves can estimate. That makes the quick of woe. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt sirocco's crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet keep a chancel cool. And yet it tasted like them all, the figures I have seen, set orderly for burial, reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame, and could not breathe without a key, and 'twas like midnight, some, when everything that ticked has stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost, first autumn morns repeal the beating ground, but most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance, or spar, or even a report of land to justify despair.